So, how do I use self-forgiveness? Now, for people who have gone through some of the Destiny material, you will see that one of the primary tools that we utilize within the process of self-correction and self-movement is self-forgiveness. And why do we use this? So, a brief overview of self-forgiveness. Self-forgiveness is when one takes self-responsibility for that which you allow within yourself as the inner experience of yourself, and through taking self-forgiveness you are making the statement that you no longer accept and allow that experience within yourself. Now, self-forgiveness starts out as, say for example, a very simplistic statement. Say you're going through your day. I'll give an example throughout my day. Let's say I'm experiencing myself developing tension as I'm working on one of my psychology assignments, and throughout the day I start getting this tension building in my neck, and I observe myself within what it is that I'm experiencing, and I notice that I am busy participating in thoughts such as, I can't do this, I won't complete my assignment in time, what if I fail my assignment, what if I'm not as clever as the other people who are doing the assignments and therefore I won't be able to pass the subject. You know, sort of random thoughts like that. So what I do then is, because I've now noticed that I am busy participating in thoughts which are leading me to, first of all, create an anxiety about studying, which is not necessary. You know, the end product is that I'm going to finish the assignment, I'm going to complete the subject, and I'm going to pass, because it is something that I've proven to myself. It is something that requires simplistic steps for me to take, and that is to do the assignments, to study the work, and to go write the assignments. You know, to go write the assignments and then the examinations. I have proven this to myself for the last 2 years, so I mean, it is something that I know can be done. It takes discipline every day and consistency to be able to complete the work. So now what I've realized is I am busy generating thoughts within myself based on, you could say, my pre-programming, which is the tendency to, for each of us, our pre-programming is that which we tend to fall back on, which we sabotage ourselves through. So, say for example, my sabotage point would be to allow thoughts of, I'm not clever enough to do this. So what I do then, in realizing I have generated these thoughts based on my pre-programmed design, you know, my pre-programmed nature of how I was designed to be, my personality. Now I've identified that I'm allowing myself to participate in these thoughts. So what I do is I immediately apply self-forgiveness on allowing these thoughts. So it'll be, for example, I forgive myself for accepting and allowing myself to participate in the thought of, I am stupid. I forgive myself for accepting and allowing myself to participate in the idea and in the notion that I cannot complete this assignment. And so I will take all the thoughts that I've just identified and I will apply self-forgiveness on each core thought. Now, as you write down the thought, you will notice that some of them will branch off into more specific thoughts. So say, for example, as you're working with that, you will immediately identify that the first self-forgiveness line you did, which is that I forgive myself, accepting, allowing myself to participate in the thought of I am stupid, already there you start noticing this comes up when I go into the fear of failure. Okay, so now you are branching out and you are expanding on your self-forgiveness statement. So now, on that first self-forgiveness statement, you will branch out and you will do maybe 3 or 4 more, just around the point of stupid. For example, that I forgive myself, accepting, allowing myself, since I grew up, to believe that I am not as intelligent as my sisters. I forgive myself for accepting and allowing myself to believe that I am not as intelligent as other people in the world who study psychology. And there you are taking the one word stupid and you are branching out and looking at, where did you come up with the idea that you are stupid? Where in the past did you participate in creating the idea that you are stupid? Where in the present am I participating in exacerbating this idea that I'm stupid. And then you will even look at taking it as far as, how do I convince myself, or what justifications are used to convince myself in the moment that I'm stupid. So for example, I forgive myself, that I accept and allow myself that when I think I'm stupid, to find reasons to not complete my psychology exercise for the day, and instead to go outside and walk with the dogs. Thus, I realize that this is a diversion technique to not sit down and complete my exercises. So there, one has taken one point, you've applied self-forgiveness on the core, and then what I would do is you would expand, and what I do is I expand on that one point until you have looked at all the bases and you've covered all the points around that original point. So this is how I use self-forgiveness to identify throughout my day where I am allowing thoughts to compound until it eventually overwhelms me as a point of self-possession. And there, again, one will identify the energetic experience of the fear that comes up. You know, what is the fear that if, for example, I don't complete my assignment, what will happen to me? So here one is looking at the initial thought that comes up that you participate in, and that thought in itself is linked to other fears. So let's say I'm sitting here and I'm participating in the original thought, which is, oh, I can't finish this assignment. Now you've done all the self-forgivenesses on all the points of you think you're stupid, you think you don't have sufficient intelligence, and all that. Now you go and look at the outflow and the consequence of me, for example, for 3 or 4 hours sitting here and participating in the thoughts of not being clever enough to finish this assignment. That I find sometimes has an outflow, which is a secondary fear that then comes up of, now because I've postponed for 1 or 2 or 3 days, now I have gone into the fear of not being able to complete this original assignment, and now I fear that I'm going to fail eventually. So always look at what was the original thought pattern that one goes into and participates in initially. Do self-forgiveness around those points, and then you will find that sometimes that original pattern within one's life has a compounding and an outflow effect. And then one simply goes and identifies, oh, okay, so there I built up a headache by the end of the day because now I'm regretting the fact that I should have just finished the assignment and now I've run out of time. So do all the points, cover all the points around that, look at throughout one's day, where did you start participating in thoughts? Where did you end up being in complete fear and anxiety in relation to the point, complete you could say self-hate, resentment towards self, all those points, write them out, see if each point can be expanded on, and then as you go along, you apply self-forgiveness on each point. Thank you very much.